So I'm looking at my room, and it's multiple universes. That thread that I was talking about, the passing universes. It's basically the effects of the lights and the smells with incense, if I burn it. And I'm feeding the birds, and they're saying thank you. And whenever I go out, I think that they're reminding me, put some food in the little houses that you made for the feeding houses. That's basically happening sometimes. Can't wait for August, for the sun and the warm weather. Things of simulation tolling this time. It's calling in the Muslim and saying Allah Akbar wa la ilaha illallah, and it always works like magic, like pancakes. Whenever you make pancakes in the morning for breakfast, it works for people. Orange juice too. It's weird when it's happening. It's like, oh my god, how do you mix the answers to this crazy? It's like a diddly-do delusional thought, obviously, but I'm still there. I'm still conscious because I remember hypnotizing them and talking to all the subscribers and saying it to the whole universe. This is going to make a banger video for Ariana Grande and Jessie J. So just don't ignore any of the seconds of this video for the comedic effect that you'd like to. The truth comes out, always, and it's not trying to beam anything. It's just throwing it on sometimes. So, talked about the cap, took it off, and it was boiling. Invisible. So easy. That's great. So I think I'm going to relax, rest a little bit, and then I'm going to go at it again. Recess the timer, maybe, metaphorically speaking. Again. I can take 2 hits in one now. That's not essential, but I'm a second hitter. And I fret on the trap. And I hold that in. I have a big lung capacity. It's easier for me than most people to get the dose and, spread the message and be the messiah. So I mentioned for what's in it, it's impossible. Is nothing. It'll be even harder next time. So don't take those hits on yourself, because it's pretty harsh. His opinion burns. It's like a vapor, basically. A spiky little animal. Hedgehog. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like the spikes, lion, fish. It can burn if you pass by and you're not careful enough. The vapors, they're great for some people. For other people, they're not great because they're harming the climate of the planet, and we're really worried about the Paris Climate Accord. And the more you hold this thought in, the more you premeditate the best solutions for our whole human family. So change the angles, change the ingles and eagles, and get yourself vegan hot dogs. Run naked through the fields if you feel like it, and connect with your higher self. Well, the thing is, if you break the rules too much, then people won't trust you. It's like the old saying, if you call out for the wolves and the wolves aren't there, people are never going to trust you again, because they're going to get so scared and so into it. They're going to get so into the emotion and the paranoia. So you better just stay at home. Do the vaccine. Don't do the vaccine. Do the hokey pokey, and that was a mention worthy of mentioning in a previous set. And if you were following, you would know the continuation to that thought in that configuration. And in this one, it's more evil than the other one. It's really black, like really black coffee. It's cocky. It's playing hockey. And it's feeling good about things the way they are, relatively speaking. And the relatives are feeling great. And the grapes are ready to be graded. Raisins. Throughout the seasons. It's really sharp. Not this, which I'm doing. His existence is really sharp. Everything he does is a masterpiece, and everything I do is a piece of shite-ski. Not everything. Not always. Being way too critical. Yo, this is taking a weird turn, and I have to reel it back into positivity, because I know how to fix situations. I think I got everything I need to make a good, nice, and easy day. Don't stall too much, and iced coffee. I realized definitively it doesn't matter if your eyes are opened or closed. People always have a debate if you smoke enough. Maybe it'll vary the experience, but not the intensity of it, or how good it is necessarily, If you smoke enough, if your eyes open, it'll take whatever you're looking at and transform that into whatever. So, I was looking at, my room became multiple universes, like on a thread, reeling past by me. And then this freaking gay darting around, and I was like, the master. I wouldn't say God. It wasn't like that. Didn't seem benevolent, even. It seemed like it was getting shit done. It was busy. It seemed a little angry that it had to be there to tell me, deal with this trail shit. This balderdash sense. Tell this idiot, whoever you're talking to, he doesn't need to. He doesn't call me an idiot, but he was frustrated, Cecil. Or see, It doesn't really matter for him, you know. It wasn't the same telling him or talking. It was just a matter of observing it. And ended here seeing the words in the sense that that's what it was trying to communicate to my body or whatever it was talking to. The visual is like afterwards, and before that seemed like a short trip. And also, I start talking like while I'm still tripping, and that sort of takes me out of it because I'm aware I wasn't for a second cue, but I'm aware that I'm recording doing internal work. So I start talking sitting on bowling. Most people have their eyes closed. I don't know, or maybe it wasn't short. Maybe it's just a perception of that. Friggin' intense. Funny, a lot of visuals I had basically. I was listening to an audio, muted, WTF itself. You'll have to check the playback and see if your actual audio is muted, because you have some music playing. And those parts where you're not talking, you'll have to check if it's actually muted, because that was weird. At one point I was hearing the music, and it was silent for a couple of seconds, which is a weird hallucination. Canceling out yourself, that's pretty intense. It has to like pretty high up permissions in your brain to be able to access that sort of shit. Mute all the sources of sound in the Ministry of Privilege. You can't just mute the friggin' sound in your brain. What are you doing? It's crazy, Dipto. So when you're closing and opening your eyes, you don't know if you're upper. If you look in the videos, you'll see parts where you're sort of like opening and closing them, going back and forth. Basically, your memory tells you that. During that part, like, all the effects were like flickering on and off, like I mentioned. One of the things that I mentioned were the people in the live streams, YouTube, that I really like. The flickering, on and off, RGB cable, podcasts, subscribe. Computers flickering instantly, calculating the next step for what's happening. With everything, all the effects, it's just like very computer simulated, like themes of simulation here. But not totally this time. Just that entity seemed beyond like dog cat computer simulation Mario. Travis, that's weird when that's happening. Oh my god, I have the answer. This is crazy, but it's like a delusional, sick thought. I'm still conscious because I remember thinking, wait till I tell my subscribers that I got the secret to the universe. This is gonna make a banger video, you know? A menu of life. For 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Up that. I know the answer. And I can't wait for this to make a great video for you. Isn't that fun? Final tune. Slowly but surely you start realizing, wait a second, this can't be true. And you know it's not true because every trend is like different. Like the last trip, something else was giving the answers. Now the answers are that, you know, several meanings are acceptable. And they're like honing. And we've never had a trip where we're imagining something beyond like something you can come up with out yourself. You're not convinced that this is the DMT effect being supernatural. But I don't find it in the US politic, spiritual, or anything that plasma. To me, it's a testament to how complex the human brain is and how incredible the cats are. And life itself, doofus is life itself. DMT is just like this analogy to something earlier in the comments. Life, DMT is like a program, and life is like an operating system. You know what I mean? Like, it's all these trips that are small things that happen, voyages, and then you're opening a new time and space continuum. And it's becoming so popular again that it's the best recording of all time. I don't know what it is. Ignore the last 10 seconds. Probably get keyed into the comedic effect, but ignore it. That's really cool, Trip. Black. It has a different vibe to it every second. If you mean categories, each way is unique, but there's a problem with the categories. Some of them are funny memes, and some of them are very spiritual and uplifting. I have trips 1 and 2, and those were really spiritual, uplifting, and I ended up in Mexico, Tulum, Cancun, and then back to California, I think so. New York? Maybe. This one? It's more like based in outer space. It's all about how the universe works, and God, and things like that, higher powers. And those ones are fascinating. Not necessarily positive, or overly positive, or scary. Just feels like it's showing me the truth. It's not trying to be anything, it's just the truth. And those ones are, like, awesome. About awesome things. Not like awesome, dude, but they're full of awe-inspired, mind-blowing, and just, I don't know. I'll have to look back at the tape, but I was sure that I was like, drooling. It's not that long, 3 or 4 minutes. 7, 8, 15. It's fine, Emily, family. No samo. The edges of my screen ended up being too squared out, stretched. And I look at the universes and I'm like, oh, watch this YouTube visual. I've had YouTube visuals turn into music things before, so that's why I throw them. And I throw them in. into the mix. So I'll do the second shot and then I'll record one more message for you, okay?